I want to talk a little bit about how you set preferences and what some of these options mean, so that if you need to change these for your project, you have a base knowledge of what to do and what you're looking for. So I have open Plan and Profile Generator. Under the Main tab, you can create plan sheets only, and if you have Generate Sheets created, then it will create sheets that have Plan View only on them. You can also likewise create plan and profile sheets like you see in the background here, which is most standard, or you could create profile onlys, which is going to give you just the profile on the sheet. You also have an option under Plan and Profiles that you can create, you can select under Sheet Layout, Alternate Plan and Profile. This means that it will create one full sheet of the plan view, and then the following sheet will be a full sheet of the profile. So the sheets would go together like 1 is plan, 2 is profile, 3 is plan, 4 is profile, and so on and so forth. Or if you select profile sheet first, then it will switch that order, and so your profile sheet will come in first and then your plan sheet. That's not typically how we do things, but it is an option. So back to the Main tab, you can use plan views that you have already created previously, and that is going to be listed. Those views are going to be listed down here under Plan Views, and you can generate your sheets based on those instead of based on station limits. On these station limits, you can select your start station. It's going to default to the beginning of your horizontal alignment. However, you can change that start and stop. To determine the length that you're going to have per sheet, you're going to need to think about the size of sheet that you're printing on, which typically our full-size sheets are going to be 36 inches long. The actual usable space that you're going to have in a 36-inch long sheet is going to be 30 inches, because 6 inches of that is going to be taken up with borders and a little bit of extra room on each side of the sheet of white space. So you're going to look at a 30-inch printing area, and depending on what your scale is going to depend on how many lengths in feet. So if I have 30 inches and I'm at a 30 scale, then I'm going to do 30 times 30, and that gives me 900. If I was going to do a 50 scale, then I would do 30 times 50, which gives me 1500, and I would type 1500 in here as my length of my sheets. In Plan Views, you can also double click these plan views and it'll pop up an Edit Plan View. You can change the view name. This is showing that it's sheet 1 and this is the station it starts on. You can change your start and stop station. So if I wanted to change the stop station to be, this is 800-foot increments. Let's say I want to change it to 1500. So then I'm going to change that to 25 plus naught. And I'm going to say Apply. And I'm prompted, do I want to change the other plan views, just the neighboring plan views, or no plan views? So let's say adjust all of them to maintain the view length. So I'm going to say OK. Update names and corresponding sheets, yes, and close. So now it went from start and stop stations go from 10 to 25, 25 to 34, 34 to 43, and so on and so forth. Now this maintained the 800 feet that I had initially, not these 1500 that I just changed it to, because that's what was saved in my sheet index previously whenever I ran PNP Generator. On the profile views, if you want to change your profile view, then you're going to need to go and regenerate your profiles. And you can do that. You will go to where you created your profiles, your profile views initially, and as long as you start them in the same place and they're the same length, then it will still be referenced into your PNPs. If your plan and profiles change in length and you now have a bigger sheet or a different scale, then you're going to need to regenerate the entire set. However, if you just want to change where you start and stop your profiles, you can regenerate them in the same location and it will still reference the correct place in your plan and profile sheets. And you can do this by doing profiles only and don't generate sheets, just generate profiles only, and it's going to redo these views. So if I said apply, it's going to ask me, do you want to regenerate profiles? And I say yes, and then it's asking me to identify a location. So I would click in the same place that I have these, and it would regenerate the profiles. However, I'm going to right click to exit that because I don't want to regenerate the profiles at this time. Under plan controls, your left and right width are going to be the amount of plan view that shows up to the left and right of the center line. So again, I want to use 10 inches total in my plan view. So 10 inches is the size of the sheet times my 30 scale gives me 300 feet wide for my plan view. So to the left it'll be 150 and to the right it'll be 150. If I had 10 inches and I was on a 50 scale, then 10 inches times 50 gives me 500 feet, and this would change to being 250 on the left and 250 on the right. Again, you're always going to want to force a rectangular boundary, and whether you want live nesting or not is up to you, and you can click model files to open the files that you want to put in your plan view. These are all what references in your plan view. Under profile controls, you can name your profile sets. Also on profile preferences, this is where you're going to select how your profile is going to look. All of its settings are based on profile preferences. So I have PNP Generator 30 scale set up. However, if I was going to do a 50 scale, then I would change it to being a PNP Generator with no scale behind it, because I know that's the 50 scale standards. If you want to change these or create a new one, the place that you're going to do that is under Create Profile. So you're going to go to Evaluation, Profile, Create Profile, and this is where you set all of your standards for how that profile is going to look. So whenever it creates a view, it's going to go based on all of the controls that you set here. So under PNP Generator, I load that and close. Right now the window clearances are 3 feet on the top and 3 feet on the bottom. Now if I want my bottom clearance to be larger, so that if I want to put in my underground structures, I need more room than just 3 feet, I can change that to 10 feet, go back to my preferences, say save, and close, and now whenever I generate my plan and profiles using this profile preference, I will have the new updated window clearance. So this is manipulating how your profiles look whenever PNP Generator generates your profile views. So I am setting all of the standards for these profile view generations. Also, I can change how far offset my left and right annotations on elevation are. I can change the text style. I can change how often my grid comes in, things like that. That's all going to be changed through profile preferences on Create Profile. This is where I change those things, and then I just reference that preference in Profile Controls. Also, you do have the capability for Plan and Profile Generator to annotate super elevation in your profile. You're going to give it a corridor and go under Super Control Lines. Now, PNP Generator has some capabilities that we don't use. To manipulate those and find those, you can click Help at any point, and this large reference box will open up. And since I'm already in the profile controls, it'll take me right to Plan and Profile Generator, Profile Control tabs, and every option that's in there, it gives me a brief description on what it does and how I can manipulate it. This is a very helpful tool if you want to change some of the preferences in Plan and Profile Generator. On the profile elevation shifts, if you have a existing ground that changes elevation too much, more than your vertical profile height, so if I had more than a 30-foot change in profile height, it would make a shift and shift my profile and give me equivalent elevations on either side of the shift. I can make that shift at major stations, which is going to be my even 100-foot offsets. I can do minor stations, which would be 50-foot offsets, or I can just shift wherever needed. So if that happened at 5.67 feet, then that's where the shift would happen. What's also taken into consideration on these shifts is that I am allowing my window clearances. So if I have a 5-foot window clearance at the top and a 10-foot clearance at the bottom, then that means that the difference has to be, in this case, 15 feet or greater, and it would classify as needing a shift. On these surfaces, it's going to display all the surfaces that you have checked, and it's going to decide if it needs shifts based on the surface that you highlight. Again, your profile height is based on your scale. So since I have a 1-to-1 vertical exaggeration on my profiles, I have a 30 scale and 10 inches vertically to work with, so I wanted 30 feet in my profile height. These margins are going to stay the same based on the size of our sheet, no matter what your scale is. On sheet layout, this is not highlighted because under main, I don't have highlighted generate sheets. When I select generate sheets, then I can change all of my sheet layout details. Basically, nothing's going to change in this except for host files and seed host files, which those were talked about in Plan and Profile Generator. Also, you want to make sure that this says layout along alignment, not grid, whenever you are doing Plan and Profile and plans, because those need to go where they are at in X and Y coordinates based on the horizontal. So make sure it says layout along alignment if you're doing Plan or Plan and Profile Generator. Under View Layout, this paper location for your Plan View and Profile View is not going to change. It's based on your size of your sheet, which is always going to be the same on a full scale. You can change your scale to whatever you're using. If I was using 50, I would change that to 50. Sheet layout, we talked about this in Plan and Profile Generator. Match lines, you can change what your match line station callout looks like. You can also change your station format, etc. So this is the match line on the left and right side of the sheet. Right now the start station just says station. You could change that to actually say start station if you wanted, and it would come in as start station and then the call out. You could add a suffix or a prefix that maybe said if it's your main line or the name of the horizontal. So you could say State Highway 3 station blah 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 if you're making multiple PNPs. So there's options to change that. You can also double click and it'll ask what level, color, etc. that you want for your text. Symbols and details. The north arrow is automatically attached. Where that comes in is the same no matter what because of the sheet size, and you can give it a scale. Also, you can attach one other cell, any cell that you need. If you have questions about the project-wise title block, you can click the Help button. Borders and titles, this is the last thing. You have an option for a border. You can put in a cell. You can see that there is a standard PNP sheet cell. That's not typically how things are done at MacArthur. We use reference files, and that was talked about on the Plan and Profile Generator video. And again, you can set your scale whenever you're here. And this is the size of a full-scale ODOT sheet. This is how we calculated all of our distances based on the sheet. That wraps up all of the tab options in Plan and Profile Generator. Again, remember that you can click Help in any of the tabs, and that will automatically take you to reference information on that tab.